Hi, and welcome to the third edition of Jfokus Brown Bag. Today we have a presentation about microservices, and I would like to introduce today's speaker, Ivar Grimstad. Welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Ivar Grimstad. I work for the Eclipse Foundation. I'm located in Malmö in Sweden. And to prove it, I have this cup here. So for those who are Swedish, you can read this, right? So you know that is a very Scania word. So I'll share my screen here. And let's get started. Okay. So this talk is end-to-end portable microservices with Eclipse MicroProfile. I'll do a lot of coding, so there will be a couple of slides just to accompany it, but most of it will be live coding. As you probably know, the MicroProfile working group has been established now. And I think it's tomorrow the vote ends where they convert the MicroProfile projects over to be a specification project. And that means they can get rid of the Eclipse name in front of MicroProfile. So from tomorrow this presentation will be called End-to-End Portable Microservices with MicroProfile. So this is the last edition of the Eclipse MicroProfile talk. As I said, my name is Ivar Grimstad. This is my Twitter, my GitHub, my LinkedIn. Please feel free to contact me. I'm active in a bunch of open source organizations, as you can see on the bottom here, and also run the Java forum JUG here in Malmö. This talk is about MicroProfile. And just to give a very short introduction to what MicroProfile is, it is, as the slogan says, optimizing enterprise Java and making it easier to create microservices on the Java enterprise platform. And it builds on top of 4 specifications from Java Enterprise or Java EE. And that is CDI for having dependency injections and context and gluing everything together. You have the JSON specification, JSON-P and JSON-B for processing and binding JSON objects back and forth to Java. And then you have the JAX-RS, which is the specification for creating RESTful endpoints. And on top of these, you have 8 MicroProfile specifications that tackle different problems you encounter when creating microservices. And very quickly, open tracing is for tracing facility across services. You have OpenAPI for documentation, REST client for calling clients in a type-safe way, config for externalized configuration, fault tolerance for circuit breakers, bulkheads, etc., to make your services reliable. You have metrics to measure your services, for example, with Prometheus or similar, and JSON Web Token propagation for security, as well as health for enabling your services to be able to see if they're up and running or not. Like in Kubernetes, you can have these checks for if they're live and ready. And I'll demo most of these specifications here today. I don't think I'll have time for or do anything with tracing or metrics, but maybe we'll see. But most of the others, I think I can fit in these 30 minutes. There are lots of implementations here with MicroProfile, and in this talk, I'll use Quarkus, OpenLiberty, Payara, Tommy, and Helidon. So I'm happy we have someone from Oracle, so we can report back that I did some Helidon stuff, because that's an Oracle product. And the Eclipse MicroProfile or MicroProfile, the webpage, you find information about it, and the starting point for everything is microprofile.io. And as you see, the current version of MicroProfile is 3.3. There is a 4.0 coming out at the end of this year. They are, as they are working on this conversion to specification projects, as soon as that is done, they will start the release process for getting 4.0 out. So there is a new version coming out pretty soon, and there are betas and nightly builds. You can explore the facilities there already. But in this talk, I'll use mostly 3.3 and in one case 3.2, I think. what I also will point you to is the MicroProfile Starter. And this is the place to quickly get up and running with a MicroProfile project. And let's do that and look at how it looks like. And what I'll do there is to create this application. It will be a greeting service on Open Liberty, and I'm going to use the MicroProfile Starter to do it. So let's navigate to the starter. And as you see, it's start microprofile.io. And if I go in here and I can type in my group ID and name of the application, I'll just use most default here. I'll call this one greeting. I'll choose version 3.3. And okay, I'll just reload the page. So I'll use version 3.3 here. And with 3.3, I have these to choose from. If I choose another version, you'll see I have a different set of vendors. So in this case, I'll use 3.3, and I'll choose Open Liberty. These are just examples. So if you check the boxes here, you get example code down. But in this case, I'll actually code the samples myself. You can also choose between 8 or 11, depending on what the implementation supports. I'll just use 8 there. I think I'm using 15 to compile with, but let's just keep the source level at 8. So just extract this one in the Jfokus folder. There you go. And then open the IDE. And I should be able to, let me see here. The Zoom stuff is kind of hiding things. I'll open this, where did I put it? Downloads, Jfokus, greeting. So I'm getting the project in here. And what I'll do just to start off with is to go into my this folder, and I'll just type Maven Liberty dev. This is the development mode of Liberty, so it will build my project for me and just start it in development mode so I can do changes as we go. So the first time you build it, it will take some time because it downloads the server artifacts you need. I did that earlier today, so it should be here already. But the first time I build it here, it has to package everything again. So it's a new project, so it takes a little while. In later runs, it will be faster. So while it's going there, let's go and look at the code. And you can see this is a super simple, it just returns hello world. So it's nothing magic going on here. And it's in a path hello. And the application is /data. So let's see if it's coming up. I promise you it will be faster next time. So there it's up and running. So let's go and look at this in the browser. At localhost, I think it's on 9080 default, and it's data hello, and it says hello world. So there's no magic there. So let's go and fix this application and do some stuff. Look at the different MicroProfile things. For example, let's add the liveness and readiness tests, and I have some templates here. So this is the MicroProfile health check. So here you can see I'm implementing the health check, and I'm using the liveness probe, and the liveness probe is to give Kubernetes or whatever environment you're running your application in, saying that this application is live. So don't kill it yet. It's kind of give the container infrastructure the message that it's coming up. And then we have the readiness probe, which is implements also the health check, but here we use the readiness, and this is to give the infrastructure the message that, hey, I'm ready to receive traffic. So here you can see it says Duke's ready, and the other one says Duke is alive. So let's look at how this looks in the browser. And then I have the health check, and if I go there, you see I get all of them on the health endpoint. If I want to filter on the liveness probe, I can go and say I only want the liveness probe, and you can see it says Duke alive. And as well, the readiness will also be at /ready. So these are the things you configure your environment with. To see how easy it is just add these classes, and you have implement the health checks, and you can do whatever you want here with the other data and build the structure the way you want. Another thing that actually comes for free with this is the documentation. So the OpenAPI in MicroProfile actually generates all this OpenAPI configuration here that Swagger uses, and Liberty actually adds a Swagger UI on top of it as well, so you can actually go in here and try it out. So you get the Swagger documentation, everything up and running for free. So I don't think I actually managed to click the button. It was too big for me. Execute. So there it should go and say the since I don't have the correct response, you say, but I get a okay here. So you don't have to do anything to document your code to get the Swagger UI up and running. You could, of course, add some sprinkle some annotations here and there if you want to document it, use Swagger annotations or OpenAPI annotations there as well. So far, so good. So we have this Hello World application up and running. But what we really want is, in these COVID times, we don't travel much. So this problem is kind of unusual these days. But if you travel a lot to conferences, you sometimes end up with, oh, I'm going a little bit too fast here. Let's go back. You sometimes wake up in a hotel room and wonder where you are and what you're doing there. And this application is meant to help you with this. So I can configure it when I go to bed at night, and when I wake up in the morning, I can refresh my browser and see where I'm at and what I'm going to do. So if I had run this today, it would say you have a microservice talk at Jfokus today, Tuesday at 12. And in order to do this, we'll split it into different services. And we'll have one service saying, hey, it's to tell me where I am. So I'll generate a service using Quarkus that will return the at Jfokus to me. So let's go into the starter again. And this time I'll call it location. And I'll use 3.2 to get Quarkus available for me. And I'll download this one. So we have the location service. I'll extract it there in the Jfokus folder. And let's go into our IDE again and import this. Oh, there we go. So get the location in. There you go. And I'll just have to cheat a little. So where is my location service? There it is. And the Quarkus also have this Maven plugin. So I can go to location, Maven Quarkus dev, start it up. And what I want to do here is to add some stuff. First of all, I want to fix the port I'm running at. So I'm going in here to the property file. And let me just see where I have the properties. I'll go in there and set it to 8484 and start it up again. This is data, this is hello. Let's call this one location. And rather than returning we'll actually use MicroProfile configuration here. So we'll inject a config property. Call it name equals place. Let's give it a default value that is somewhere. Let's make it a string, sorry, place. And rather than returning hello world, we're going to return at and then place. No, sorry. Plus place. There we go. And a semicolon. So then I'm injecting a config property here. Name value config property is from MicroProfile config, and I'm giving it a default value. So if I run this one, it should on a localhost 84 data location, it should say at somewhere if it's running, yeah, and it says at somewhere. So if I want to configure this one, I can give it an environment variable, or I can give it a system property. So let's call this one Jfokus, like this. So I'm giving it a system variable at runtime, and this means you can do it differently for different runtimes environment. So when you move to a production environment, it will give another property, or if I move to another hotel room, it will be another place that I'm using there. So now it should return at Jfokus as we want it to do. Let's go next service and use a conference service, and in this time I'll use Helidon. And here I won't use the starter. I'll use another way, because Helidon comes with a client tooling called Helidon. I've pre-installed it here. So here you can actually build a product, a service using this client tooling. So let's use Helidon init here. Choose the MicroProfile version. I'm using a bare installation. I'm calling it conference. Yeah, it's com example. The artifact is conference. Version, that's good. Package name com example conference. And I won't start the development loop right yet. For some reason, it calls it bare MP, so I'll just move bare MP to conference. So there, and import it in the IDE, so we have it there. Oh, there you go. So the conference, finish it up. So it should be coming in here. And Helidon can be run in dev mode as well. But for that, I'll just fix the port number. And this is using MicroProfile config to do that. So I'm going in here, and I think I want this one to run on 8282, like this. And then I'll start Helidon in crap. Oh, my IDE froze here. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. So it starts in development mode, and then I'll go and start fixing it up a little. Let me see if I can find the conference service here. So here I only have a greet resource on greet, so I'll call this conference. I want to have a conference application class. So I have a root context of data. So it's similar to the others. So I'm calling this one conference REST application. And I'm just doing like this. There you go. So it should be, why isn't this compiling? That's weird. Oh, I don't get why this one won't go. Yeah. Let's see if we can do without this. I think this is just defaults anyway. So let's go over there. And I'm not sure if this one actually is running or not. So let's go and test it. It's on localhost. What did I say? 82 data conference. And it says hello world. So it's actually sort of working, even though the IDE doesn't recognize it compiling, but we're good. So let's go and say that we want to actually call, as you see from the architecture diagram, I want to call the location service to get the @Jfokus string there. So let's go and use the MicroProfile REST client, and I think I have a template for it. That's good. Yes, I'm going to call this one. So what I'm doing here, and this is kind of cool, I'm doing a interface, and I'm using a lot of JAX-RS annotations. So I'm saying this is a get method. Here I'm using the fault tolerant from microservice and say, hey, 500 milliseconds, that's enough. Otherwise, call the say it method, which is returning that I have to look out the window to figure out where I am. And it's at the conference. So here I'm using JAX-RS annotations on an interface. And I'm using this register REST client and register REST client headers to register it with the runtime that I'm generating a proxy to the client. What I also have to do is to configure this client so it knows where to go. And I do use MicroProfile config for this. So let me see here. What I do is I say this. I think I did something wrong here. It should have been a location service, but okay, let's rename it. This is location. See if this works. And then we go here and say that this is conference service. It goes to localhost 8484, which is the location service that I created, /data, and then /conference, as I have, or /location as I have here. So if I go in the browser, and if you remember the local, it says /data/location returns @Jfokus. So let's try and call this one. And then from the Greek resource, I can go in here. Let's use this here. What I'm doing is I'll inject, a REST client. And it's a private, and in this case, it's actually a conference service, even though it's actually a location service. Then I don't need this, the Greek resource. I don't need this one. I'm doing a get here. I'm not producing JSON anymore. I want this as text. And what I'm returning here is just return microservice service talk. And then I'm calling the conference service dot conference. It's actually location service dot location, but you get the point there. So I'll remove this one, and so I'm injecting this interface I created, and I'm calling it here in a type-safe way, and it should return microservice talk at, and then do the call to this one. So let's see if it actually does it, and it doesn't. So there's something wrong here. So conference, let's see. It has the location there. Say it. The configuration says to go localhost 8484 -data. It should actually be fine, but let's restart the Helodon and see if that helps. I'm seeing here on the time that we definitely won't be getting through all I plan to do, and especially since this one isn't working. Let's see, it says cannot be converted to JSON. Okay, I get it. That's because I'm returning a JSON object here, and we want to return a string. There we go. And now it's rebuilding, and I think it's actually going to work. Is it? Sooner. There you go. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Microservice talk at Jfokus. So now I have the service calling the other service. So let's create some more. I have a day service and a time service. I already have them up and running. You just have to trust me on this. I think this is the day service around 12, or time service and day service Tuesday at 12. And then we want to use the greeting service to call these three other services, and get it rippled through. So we'll fix the greeting service to call these services. So I'm going back to the greeting service in the hello controller. I want to add some service there, and I'm actually here. I'm using the conference service because this is where I should have done it. So I'm saying this one is actually calling conference, and I'm also going to add a day service. So this is the same thing. I'm using an interface to create the JXRS thingies, and I have the time service as well. So here I'm calling all these. I need to configure this service in order to be able to run. And what I have here is I'll go into the MicroProfile config here, and I'll add these configurations. So I'm configuring the config service to point to 8082, the time service to 8383, and the day service. And I'm also propagating the authorization headers. I won't have time for the security part now today, but I'll just do it anyway. And then I'm going to use these in the hello service here. And what I'm going to do is to inject these three interfaces here. So I'm injecting all the services I'm calling, and then I'm going to add the media to type text here, and then I'm going to, and this one is just to fix the producers that it's correct. Okay, let's see if it does it afterwards, and then I'm going to return the text. There you go. With you have a conference, and I'm calling the conference service, and then I'm calling the day service, and then I'm calling this one. And I'll just see if the imports here are okay. So for some reason this one wouldn't work. So let's skip this one and see if it works without it. There you go. And it should be up and running. So let's try it out and go to the 9080 data hello, see if it works. Oh, it wouldn't go. So it says protected method int. Okay, I have some stuff I haven't done correctly here. So I'm not sure why I haven't seen that error before. What I'm trying to do is, if you watch the IT crowd, you see the standard answer is have you tried turning it on and off again? So I'll do that and see if it works. Otherwise, I think we'll just say the demo, if you download it on GitHub, will work. So we can go over to Q&A. I won't take all your lunchtime with trying to figure out what went wrong. It was a little faster. So it's getting up and running. You see, it's a little bit faster now than it was the previous time. Let's see if it works. It should be getting up and running. Oh, come on. There you go. Well, there is something buggy, but it always has to be some bugs in some talks. What I had planned to do was to get this text. You have a microservice talk at Jfokus Tuesday at 12, and even add some security on this to secure the location service here, and then use a JSON Web Token from the greeting service that would be propagated through the conference service over and validated at the location service. And that's it. So this is the service I was planning to do, and I'm sorry the demo didn't work, but that just tells you that you'll have to come to my talk another time later, because I'm probably doing this again, or you can try it from GitHub, and I promise you it worked, because it did this morning. The sources are on my GitHub. It's called Duke's Local Greeting, and it has all the services, and everything works fine. Otherwise, just ping me and I'll help you get it sorted out. MicroProfile is on microprofile.io, and Jakarta EE is on jakarta.ee. So that's where you find information. So with that, I thank you very much for listening, and I think we can go over to some Q&A.
Perfect. Thank you, Ivar. So I will stop the recording.